You can do that.
Talking about friends, let's kick off today's
Nailed
episode.
it. That was intentional.
Pleasure explosion with fucking Tom interrupting everything. Oh no, you can't help me, I guess. I'm Dylan Blight. I'm the good. Joined by Ashley today.
Hey, how you going?
Jack
Plat.
is here. Jonathan is here.
What's going on, guys?
Oh my god, that was really sensual. I felt like a tingling into my dick. Thanks for that. Thomas is here.
Good morning. I was thinking about saying it's your boy because we don't have Nick, but
Oh yeah, someone should do it.
yeah, I didn't quite have it in me.
And special guest Cherie. Say it's your boy.
It's your boy.
Hey!
Just
There
for
he
reference,
is.
I am a girl, but I'll allow it this
It's
time.
your girl.
It's the first female voice on Pleasure Explosion. It might give someone a pleasure explosion. Johnny's like shaking his head.
Oh dear.
So
We went
this
there. It
week I wanna
took
talk-
30 seconds, but we went there.
Yeah.
This week I'll talk. So I had a topic on my list of topics to talk about. Like when we started the podcast, I wrote down mates in brackets, past and present. And I had a really weird experience last weekend. And then in comparison to Cherie coming and visiting me this week, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to talk about like past, present, future, kind of mates, friends, whatever you want to call them, from your past to now. So I want to start with I'll just start with my funny story from last weekend because it's like the past and I'll get to the present. So last weekend, one of my friends, he's like, do you want to come chill with all these, like my ex-best friend and like all these people like my clique I used to hang with, right?
Right.
And I didn't talk to them for like 5 years until last year. Last year at some point was the first time I talked to them ever. Like I was refusing to talk to them because like we had a big friendship breakup and like breaking up with your best friends, like breaking up with a girlfriend basically, I guess, like a relationship. So I didn't want to talk to him and all this sort of stuff. And I talked to him for the first time last year so I was like, all right, I'll go hang with them. But there it's such a weird reminder of like an old life because I've changed a lot, obviously, in the years since like from 5 years ago. I've changed heaps and stuff like that. So it's just like this weird entering into a different world again. And I mean a different world. I mean, I'm walking in the door to this person's place. I'm seeing illegal drugs like within 30 seconds. Like, and I don't just mean weed. So it was like a completely different world that I'm not. And I used to hang around people like that all the time, be like fine with like drug dealers and stuff like that because you just smoke like heaps of pot, as we've talked about like several times on this podcast. Several times. But yeah, I was like walking in and I was just like, someone's like, hey Dylan, do you want like cocaine? I'm like, no bro, I'm good. I was like, Dylan, do you want like, I got like Eki tablets. I'm like, I'm good. He's like, all right, do you want this? He's like, I'm good. He's like, do you want like a can of bourbon or something? I'm like, yeah, I'll just steal your alcohol.
This time lead with the bourbon and then get to the cocaine.
Yeah. I was like, but he just starts like straight head off. And it was just like the weirdest time ever. Like I remember standing in the back of this room at some stage and I'm just like looking at all these people I used to be friends with going, this is interesting. And this is like good, like getting funny stories out of it. And it's like, I like seeing stuff like this because like one day I'd like to write a book like our own Jonathan Peck. So I'm like, if meeting weird people and stuff like that is just like life experiences, like, oh, I might be able to take this like people and like turn them into to use for characters or something. But it was just like staring at my own past. I'm like, I used to like really like these guys. And I'm like, I'm not hating the night. Like I'm finding it really funny, but I'm just like, I am so fucking glad that I'm like not friends with these people anymore.
In one hand, you're like staring at your potential future as well.
Yeah, like in a different life.
Yeah, this
Sliding
In a
doors
different
and all
life,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. You could
Yeah,
quite
so-
easily have ended up there without
Still.
having been... Yeah, still, without just the invite after 5 years. It's you 5 years deep into the cocaine.
Yeah. This is true. So I just thought it was like a good week to kick off this topic because it was like between like staring at my past this week and then like I consider my main friend group these days to be like you guys and Cherie's like my best friend. So it was just like this coming together of it was like the perfect the perfect time to be doing this. So like I'm really happy with my I'm really happy to like have all you guys and Cherie in my life right now. And it's just like staring at a past is like really weird. So someone else can go.
I'm not
if
crying.
like-
You're
Well,
crying. You're a big soft.
Oh, guys. So I'm wondering in the first instance how your friend breakup happened and how that went, because I think I've mentioned before that
You
I had
did
a
mention you
similar,
had a
similar thing and that we were
incident,
going to talk
yeah.
about it at some time. So if you want to start, Dylan,
So
I can chase.
okay, my ex best friend. It always sounds weird to say, but it's true. He had. So we used to chill with him like every single day. So every day I went down to his place. He like lived a couple minutes down the road. We went to school together and all sorts
Is
of
this the
stuff.
guy you podcasted with?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. For a while. And he broke up with his girlfriend at one point, and he just went off the rails. Like I was trying so hard to be like there for him, I guess, like after his breakup and stuff like that. But it got to the point where he just started hanging out with another one of like mutual friends that I didn't really like, but I like put up with him because I'm like, oh, he's your friend, but I'll put up with him if he's around, kind of thing. But this dude was like a big fucking druggie. Like I smoked pot a lot with my ex, but it was like this dude was like too much for me to even handle. I'm like, smoking pot's fine, but I couldn't handle this dude. So then after the breakup, he just started like every day. He was like, I'd walk down there to like, I'll go have a cup of tea with him. In the Arvo or something like that. We used to drink a lot of tea.
Oh, so hardcore.
It's like weed in the morning, but a cup of tea in the afternoon.
We smoked a lot of weed and drank a lot of cups of tea. It's like that's all we do all day. And play video games.
Balancing out the herbs.
Yeah, it's a weird act, but this is the truth. It'd be like he got really like we'd just drink tea, play video games, and smoke weed. But yeah, like I just got really sick. Like he started hanging around with this dude so much, and I was just like, I can't deal with this. Like I'm trying, but like after a month and a half, 2 months of like, I'm like, you're just like, when someone like pushes you away for like too long, you're like, I can't like deal with this. Or I'm like, I can't deal with this. I'm like, oh, okay, we just got to give him fresh like time to breathe, and then like I'll give him like a couple of weeks off, and then like I'll come back to trying it. Maybe he'll sort his shit out. And I remember I was laying in bed here once, and my phone like vibrated. Like turn over, and he'd wrote me this like several paragraph message that was like it was a breakup message. It was like, we haven't been seeing eye to eye anymore. I don't think you really care about me. It was like, it sounds like a relationship breakup message, but that was what it was. I remember just rolling over reading this. Yeah, I remember reading this several paragraphs. He's like, we're not really getting along anymore. Blah 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 blah. I don't think we should see each other anymore, basically. And I remember just being like, because at this stage, after like 2 to 3 months or whatever, just being like, whatever. And I just like slammed my phone out and I turned it around. And we didn't talk for like another month. And then he messaged me one day. He's like, hey man, I'm really sorry. It was probably like 6 months later. I actually like messaged me. He's like, hey man, do you want to like come down, catch up, have a coffee? Or like, if you don't want to come down to my place anymore, like we can go town, like catch up if you still want to be friends and stuff like that. But I was like, at this point in my life, I was like, because I'd still see them on Facebook or like the mutual friends. And I'd still, at this stage, I'm like, I'm not smoking weed anymore. I'm like, getting off. I'm not like drinking as much. Like I'm slowly like waning away from all that, and I just still see them all doing it. I'm just like,
No,
no,
worth your time.
like it's done. It's over. So I remember I sent a message that was like, hey man, I wish you like I don't really talk to you anymore. Like it's we're not really like I don't care for that anymore. And I was at work when I sent it, and I was like, we don't really need to be friends anymore and stuff like that. But I like wish you luck in life or something like, you know, some like final like full stop like. But then a month went by. Hey man, do you want to catch up for a coffee? And I'm like,
Still no.
for fuck's sake! Like I just stopped replying. I never replied. Like I never replied to any messages after the one where I was like, good luck in life, bye. Because I thought that was my. I don't need to say anymore.
that was your closure.
So yeah, that's my breakup story.
No rebounding.
No. You go, Thomas.
Yeah, so not naming names, but probably like it was for a long time, maybe even 10 years or something like that, one of my best friends. We went to school together, and particularly in our last 2 years at the school, me, him, and this other friend were inseparable kind of thing. All moved down to Wellington together. At one point, so for about 3 or 4 years, we lived, like, had a flat together. So we're in one place for 2 years, moved essentially across the road, in there for 2 years together, at which point we got a dog, and he stopped talking to us. to Claire and I. So after about 10 years, we got Charlie, and that was that. Like we talked about it reasonably openly for a couple of months, about wanting to get a dog, looking on Trade Me and all that sort of stuff to try and find one that we liked. Admittedly, never explicitly asked whether he was okay with us getting a dog, but were pretty open about it.
So this is like because you were living together, he was like unhappy with it.
Yeah, we were living in the same flat.
Yeah. Okay.
And then one Sunday we'd found Charlie, went out, picked him up, brought him home, and it's almost literally like he never looked at us again. Like you said, Don, you make an effort for a while. So once we like named Charlie, I sort of took him into his room and went, "Hey, dude, this is Charlie. He's part of the family now. It'd be awesome if you would come and meet him and be friends." And he didn't even like look up from his 3DS. He just said, "Good chat."
That's weird.
And
Whoa, wow, that's cold.
and so, okay, so I just walked out the room, and that was essentially that. We shared the flat for another 8 months or something. Fucking
Really?
painful like that, yeah. And he would just refuse to acknowledge that Claire and I were in the room, and basically that we existed.
That's so weird.
Seems like a slight overreaction. I mean, I can imagine
you got
being like,
replaced.
dude, what the fuck? You bought a dog, like, and you didn't even tell me. But then to be like completely ignore you for like give you like the death treatment, like you died and you don't exist.
Yeah.
Seems like a
Super mature.
slight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so that-
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. And that was like 2 years ago, and there was probably a few months worth of trying to make a conscious effort to talk to him and like keep him, because we were like best friends inside a wider circle of friends, and like the ones that you're always going to the movies with or out for dinner and a drink on Saturday night kind of thing. I was sort of consciously always inviting him to these sorts of things that we're doing together, and he would always say no, and then it got to the point where I couldn't be bothered inviting him anymore, and then it got to the point where I would essentially realized that if this is the way he's capable of behaving, maybe I don't want him as my friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever point
and
blank
it took-
ask him, like, what's your problem?
No, I didn't. But yeah, I didn't think it was particularly worth it in the end. Like
people
he
change,
clearly
so-
had an issue, and if he wasn't going to say anything about it or bring it up, then
It can't have been the dog though. It must have been like some deep seated something else.
yeah. There's like, because Claire is
Charlie is a
Claire is
adorable.
really good friends
Adorable.
with his
Yeah.
girlfriend, and that's how him and his girlfriend met, was through her being Claire's friend. Yeah, and I think like 6 months ago or something like that. Well, I've just named people. We can bleep that if you want. She said to Claire that
They know who they are.
yeah,
I was going to say,
they-
if they're listening to this, they know. I think they'll know. It's pretty hard to.
yeah,
what other
it's
people did
pretty
he
obvious.
live with for 8 months?
Yeah.
yeah. She had said to Claire that he mentioned it was the last straw or something like that when she had asked him about it, but he doesn't even talk to, or he hasn't even talked to her about it, so they now live with two other good friends of mine, one of which I went to Spider-Man with yesterday, and it's just not spoken about.
So
And
do
it's
you ever
really
see
fucking
him at
weird.
like mutual gatherings and shit like that?
Yeah, occasionally. Have a couple of times.
And you
but
just ignore each other, or it's awkward as fuck?
It's very awkward, and I make a conscious effort not to ignore him, but to include him in the conversation as though it's normal.
yeah.
But even if I ask a question and he responds, he doesn't look at me to respond. He'll
just
look
sort
at
of-
somebody else and answer my question, looking across the table at somebody else or something weird.
Sounds like you're better off, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
I made,
Yeah, it's pretty fucked.
I made a
It's pretty
I
fucked.
made a conscious effort to never, like, I'd dodge him if if I was in, I remember one time I was like in Guff, like the card game store, and friend
Nerd.
and my ex-girlfriend were outside, and they both like ran up like, oh, he's like one of them ran back up to tell me, it was like, by the way, he's like talking to such and such downstairs, like he doesn't know you're here, but don't come downstairs.
I find like ex-best friends running into them are as bad as running into exes. Like you just avoid them at all costs. It's just as awkward.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Would you have any stories then? Jump in.
Yeah, Cherie.
Ex-best friends?
Not really. I mean,
You're literally
I'm around...
friends with everybody in the country.
yeah.
And Tom's
I
country.
I don't have any bad breakup stories, really. I mean, I move around cities every few years, so I go on a lot of what I call first friendship dates, where it's pretty much like dating, except that you're trying to identify whether you want to actually be friends with that person.
Did I pass when we had our first friendship date?
Maybe, Jack. Maybe. Yeah, just. So I guess like there's, moving around a lot and like keeping friendships at a distance is like, it's a lot of hard work. I have like pretty good practice in it now, and you kind of make really, really good friends in each place and then keep working with it. And I guess you've got to both make the effort, and it's no different to any sort of relationship is, there's the friends that'll, if you're working at a distance with it, the friends that'll stop making the effort. So it's got to be, 50-50 both ways. Otherwise the people just fall by the wayside. So I've had friends that, will just, you think you're best friends with them or you think you're close with them, and they'll just stop making the effort when you move, which is what's really hard, I guess. And it's probably worse because you're moving to a new place where you don't have friends, so you're rebuilding those relationships, but you're trying to maintain those old ones in order to, I guess, like get through all the challenges in your new locations. So
Yeah.
Don't really have any breakup stories, but that sort of stuff, dealing with that can be difficult.
I can relate to that a lot because I've moved like 4 or 5 times in my adult life, and it is hard. Like I've only had a couple of friendships end completely. So through each place I've lived, I've had a group of friends, and like I think we're talking about new friends and old friends. Like I feel like geography.
Sometimes a bear.
I feel like geography sometimes is like a really big factor of who your friends are at that point.
Yeah.
And like similar to what you're saying, Cherie, I find that when you've moved around a lot, you become good at keeping in touch with people because you have to. Otherwise, you move to a new place. Oh, now I have 0 friends. No, you have to keep in touch with people from the previous location. And over time, you realize this person's putting in the effort, this person's not. So this person who might have been my best friend back in that town is suddenly not on the same level as this person that's just making an effort. So I think that's something that's really difficult when you do change places, but it also helps show like who are the people worth investing time into.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I find like, there's friends, a few of my really close friends from where I grew up, which was in Canberra, I still have them as my really close friends. They were my bridesmaids at my wedding, and I think we'll always have that relationship and they all make the effort. But I've never been one to hold on to school friends that don't mean anything to me. I don't need people around just to have people around. You want the people that really mean something, that are really going to make an effort and be there for you when you need them to be, as much as you're going to be there for them. And I think like you said, moving around, you really identify that, the people that will always stand by you and make your life happy, I guess, no matter where you are. It doesn't matter.
And it's interesting, like I went to uni in Geelong where I live now, and I moved back here this year after not being here for like 7 or 8 years. And I was really surprised that the people who I thought it would be great to move back to Geelong and reconnect with, and then they just have basically moved on in their lives and haven't made any effort to, rekindle the friendships. And that's fine because, I guess you drift apart over time, but it's interesting that I've made new friends that are already closer than what they would have been if I tried to rejig things all over again.
Yeah.
The counterpoint to that about people making an effort while you're away, though, not to say that it's not valid, is like there'll always be those friends that are your friends no matter what, regardless of how long you do or don't talk to them for. Like,
and you pick up like where you left off, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I've got a few
my
of those.
friend Scott down in Christchurch, who we've talked about before, He was a year younger than me at school, so I basically moved away from him in his last year of school, my first year of uni. And then he moved down to Christchurch from Hamilton. And so we maybe over sort of 6-8 years or something only saw each other a handful of times. But every time it was picking back up from where you left off.
Yeah.
And it's only probably in the last 18 months that we really talked to each other on the weekly kind of thing, and we're playing games together all the time and stuff like that. But it's almost like neither of us particularly made the effort, because you're both aware of what exists and it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
Kind of
I think
strangely.
that depends a lot on your personalities and what you want from a friendship, because like when you know you're not going to see someone for a year or 2 years, then just say, oh, it's okay, I'll talk to him next time I see him. Like, that's not enough for me. Like, and I've got friendships that are like that, and I've accepted that over time because I've come to realize that that's what that person's like, and that's good, and that's good enough. Like my best friend from high school, even though we lived in the same town, we have very different friendship circles, so we wouldn't really see each other that much. And when we did, it was awesome. But it wouldn't be like the constant texting and things like that, because we didn't have the mutual friendships and connections to kind of tide that constant communication over.
Jack, Joe,
Yeah,
ex-best friends.
I have. God, I've just been thinking about it. I've got like several different stories of like similar to a lot of people's. Probably so I used to like we had like a crew like out of high school. Majority of my mates that I sort of hung out with outside of school, obviously I didn't go to school with. They went to all different schools, so I only really keep in contact with 2 people that I went to school with these days. But the crew that I used to hang around with, there was like 50 of us, and we were like, it was like we were like a fucking, I don't know, we were like a family, right? There was like everyone had everyone's
Like
back.
an army.
Sorry, what'd you say?
More like an army. 50.
Yeah,
freedom.
sometimes it was an army, sometimes it was an army. And it was like a family. Like we were like everyone had each other's back. It would be, and we used to do stupid shit. Like we always get into fights and stuff, and just being dumb kids. But like everyone would always like back each other up, and it was this.
Why am I not surprised?
Yeah. Anyway, so it was a really tight knit sort of, and everyone like the way we looked at it at the time was it was like a it was just this real like tight group, but
brotherhood.
yeah, but now it's like no one really talks from the group. I remember, and sort of where it sort of ended for me, I moved away, similar to what you sort of your story you opened with, Dylan. But when I met Sal, I was 21. We got together. I just turned 21. I was just
Great
like working.
snatcher.
So yes, she is. We were. Now I've lost my train of thought. I was working in the restaurant. I was not really doing anything of any note with my life, and I was over it. I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of this town. So I got a job up in the city. I moved up with Sal, and so I moved up, and these all these guys were my boys, and we used to dabble in stuff and fuck around and whatever. And I moved away, and I was gone for like a couple of months before I went back down because I'm getting settled in and I'm sort of starting a new job and whatever. And I remember coming back down. Like the first time I came back down, I went to one of my mates' places, a guy I was really close with at the time, and I walked in. We went to his house, catch up with him. Like, hey, how you going, guys? Whatever, blah blah blah. And there were all these dudes there that I didn't know. There's all these random guys I've never seen, never like met before in my life. And I was like, okay, cool. He's made some new friends in the last couple of months. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Anyway, so saying g'day, talking whatever, and all of a sudden everyone's sort of like gathered around like the coffee table in the lounge room, and I'm sort of like standing off to the side, like, oh, what the hell? Whatever. And then, the pipe comes out and they start passing around them. And that was sort of like and I just sort of went, that's why they're all here. It was sort of like and it was almost like, and from there it was, everyone was like got into the sort of really hard drugs. The majority of the people that I hung around with in that crew, some of them are fine, but like a lot of them are like went down really bad paths. And it was sort of like I dodged a bullet almost. And like what you said like earlier, Dylan, like, this could have been what you were into. So I always say I always say when people, if it wasn't for Sal, I'd probably be dead. Like, and I mean that when I say it. Like, I got out at the perfect time because I would have probably been sucked in with the rest of it. And so I really feel like I dodged a bullet with that. And from that sort of moment, it was sort of like that was the end of that crew for me. Like I stepped away from it. I was like, I don't want to be part of this. This is not and I still would see them from time to time, run into them and that kind of thing. But that was sort of the moment I was like, okay, this is not what I want to be about. Another one, sort of that for a friend breakup. So I've a couple of best mates. My mate Daniel, who lives in Sydney now, but he's actually down this weekend. He's like my best friend. And then I had another friend.
Hipster.
So, say again.
Hipster.
Vegan, but yeah, I don't know if you call him a hipster.
Same thing.
just as bad.
Well, he's not even really a vegan. He
Too
just
cool for meat. Oh.
he's not even really a vegan. He's just
I met him.
he likes. Yeah, have you met him? Yeah.
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 I met him.
And his
Yeah.
beautiful partner Kate. You've all met Kate. Anyway,
I don't think I did.
no, you weren't there yet. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Anyway, so my other friend. So it was like me, Daniel.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Jono was on a boat.
Jono was on a boat.
On a boat.
So the real sort of tight knit group of mates I had was me, Daniel, and another mate of mine who I know I used to say this, and I do mean it. Like he was not just my best friend, he was my soulmate. Like that's the way I described him. Is we were like as weird as that sounds, like that's how I would describe him. Like he's my soulmate. We were just on.
Sorry, Sal.
Sorry, Sal.
You can have more.
It was a different sort of thing. That's just the way I described the way our relationship was, because we were just on the same level. Like we were on, like it was, we would finish each other's sentences. We'd always know what each other were thinking. We'd always like just agree on things and just had the same view of the world and things. So we were super tight. Like we were closer than friends. Like we were like we were brothers basically, and. We were always really tight. We'd always sort of do stuff, and we sort of started drifting away. And he same thing, started getting into some bad shit, and like he wouldn't. It's got to a point where like he would never make an effort back the other way. Like I would always call him, be like, "Hey man, what's going on?" He either wouldn't answer his phone, or he'd answer and be like, "Hey man, I'll call you back in 5 minutes," and never call me back. And it was right about the time I moved in, like me and Sal built the house that we live in at the moment. And like I'd been trying to get in contact with him for months, trying to get on to like wish him a happy birthday and stuff. And he just wouldn't return any of my calls, wouldn't message me back. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I sort of stopped for a little bit. And I like one day I was just driving and I'm just going to fucking try and ring him just randomly. Because I haven't spoken to him for a couple of months. Like he's not returning any of my calls. I just moved into this house. I want to sort of share that experience with him. I want him to come and see what I've achieved kind of thing. Because we were always so tight. Like we were invested in each other's lives in that sort of aspect. Like his successes were my successes and vice versa. Like I always wanted to share that kind of stuff with him. And I just randomly, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to try and ring him like one last time. And he actually answered the phone, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, fuck, you're alive. He's like, oh, yeah, man, sorry, I've just been super busy with work. And I'm like, well, I've been trying to fucking get in contact with you. You don't fucking answer my calls. You don't turn, like, what the fuck's going on? He's like, oh, no, I'm I've just been really busy with work or whatever. He's like, look, I'm just on the job site at the moment. Can I give you a call back in like half an hour? I'm like, yeah, you can, but make sure you call me back, yeah? And he's like, yeah, no. I'm like, no, I'm fucking serious, because, you're just fucking dodging me. Like, I don't know what the go, like, you did. And he's like, no, I'm just on, like, I'm working on, like, I'll give you a buzz back. I'm like, yeah, sweet. And never called me back. And I was sort of like, and I was really hurt by that, because we were always so tight. And I was like, fuck it. Like, why should I continue to make an effort and try hard if it's not, like, if he's not doing it back the other way? And so I just gave up. I was like, fuck it. I'm out. And I didn't speak to him for a couple of years, up until sort of earlier this year. And his sister actually reached out to myself and Daniel and was like, can you please get in contact with him? He's in a really dark place. Because it was sort of us, me, Daniel, and him. We were like, it was our sort of like, it was us three. We were like, we were all brothers kind of thing. And it was sort of like I almost didn't want to, but I felt like a responsibility to him as sort of like that. While he'd hurt me or whatever, and I wasn't sort of happy with how the friendship had ended, and he wasn't making an effort back the other way. I still sort of felt like I had a responsibility to him as sort of like a brother that if he's in a bad way, I need to try and help him kind of thing. And yeah, so I reached out, and we're sort of in contact now, sort of through messages and stuff like that. And I haven't seen him or anything like that, but that was sort of a really hard breakup for me in that sense. In that this was someone that I really considered closer than a friend, and that they weren't. That it got to a point for them where they didn't either. For whatever reason, there was stuff going on in their life. They were into some shit. They didn't feel like they had to reciprocate it back the other way. So that was a pretty, painful sort of thing.
Ash. I'm hosting, Jono.
Let him do his job.
Not
Not to Jono's high standards.
I'm getting ready for tomorrow. Sorry. Go, Ash.
Yeah, a lot of my friends just sort of drifted out, I think. Just life got in the way. They just started getting married and having families and that sort of thing. And
Fuckers.
sort of...
Ash was playing the field
I
still.
completely understand. And they had other priorities, and I'm not the most outgoing person, I think. So I wasn't trying to organize stuff. And so, yeah. But keep in contact on Facebook and other social media and, like, kind of keep track of their lives and stuff. So I feel like... And any time we catch up, it feels like we're back on the same footing that we were however many years ago. But, yeah. Don't keep in touch as regular as I was, probably.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Where were they from?
No,
Were they
nothing
from-
messy or anything, but...
Were they from school?
Yeah, mostly from school.
Yeah. Yep. How about let's rotate it to part 2, present.
We move out of the counselling phase.
Yeah, move out of the council shows, yeah.
Negative
Made it
Nancy
through
is born now.
Made it through that one without crying. That was
Out of
good.
the depressing section.
Yeah.
Let's just swing it back the other way. So we'll just start. You can continue, Ash.
Well, it's
You
pretty
didn't
much
have
just
you
you
didn't
guys
have that
at
much
the
to
moment.
say about the bad things. Tell me you've got good things to say.
Yeah, you guys. That's the best thing ever.
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's all.
You're such a nice young man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Elaborate.
we pretty much talk every day. I haven't had like a friendship like that for a while. So,
Yeah.
That's
and then
good.
people at work, they're pretty cool. So, I guess in case they're listening.
Just a comparison.
I often say that, and like I talk
we
to you
don't-
guys more than I talk to anybody else in my life. It's, it's concerning, but it's
Yeah,
good.
pretty much.
It's worrisome.
All right. Well, you can go then to Jack. Like, what's your current friendship like? It's like Daniel and
Yeah, so Mike, my current friend, and like there's probably like I said, it used to be like I had a group of like 50 friends who I considered all as as tight as the 49th to the 1st kind of thing, and now it's
50th?
sorry, the 50th he sucked.
Oh, okay.
He sucked. No, just kidding.
Jack was the 50th.
I was the 50th. Yeah, that's right. And he did suck. Now, yeah, but now like I can count like my group of friends like as obviously you guys, and then like the rest of them I can count on one hand. Like there's Daniel who like was that in that group of friends that we've been tight from like the day that we met. It was a really weird sort of random like story of how we met. Like I was with a group of friends at the time. We were like 15 at the time, and a group of like mates, and I was working at McDonald's at the time. Just finished work, me and a couple other dudes, and we're like, what are we going to do with 15-year-olds? We're going to go across the road to the beach and drink Jim Beam cans. And there was a group of other dudes in McDonald's, sort of same sort of thing, looked around the same age as us, and we're like what are you guys doing? And
Gonna drink Smirnoff cans.
pretty much they're like, oh, we're going to go across the beach and drink. And they're like, well, do you guys want to, like, should we go over and drink? And they're like, yeah, sure. And we sort of hooked up, and Daniel was there. The other,
Yeah,
Double
you did.
date.
yeah. So it was like me and a couple of my other mates. And then, so the people that like we met was Daniel, my other friend who I'd just spoken about, which we sort of had the breakup. And then another guy that we don't really see anymore. And, oh no, sorry, no, the other guy we do. So there was 4 of them and 3 of us. Anyway, so we went across the road and we, just sort of hooked up and became not hooked up. We met up and drank.
yeah.
We're not,
Wasn't
we're not
like that, I
judging.
swear to God. But I remember like this guy came up. This guy, we sort of ran into this dude who I went to school, who I used to go to school with, who like used to bully the shit out of me. Was like just a real prick, and I hated him. Anyway, he came up and like we're sort of talking to him, and he started like giving me shit. And Daniel, God bless him, grabbed this kid And it's just like, he's like, don't you fucking talk to Cruzy like that. I'll fucking kill you. I'll fucking throw you. Fucking. Like, it was just like, he's like, I'm going to kill this. And this guy was like, oh, I'm so not. Like, got real scared. And Daniel was like threatening to murder this kid because he was picking on me. I'm like, I like this guy. I think we can be friends. And, from that day on, we were tight as. And he's still, like, I still consider him my best friend. He lives in Sydney, has done for like the last 4 or 5 years, but we speak on a, sometimes weekly basis. Sometimes I won't talk to him for a month and then I'll pick up the phone and we'll talk for hours. When I go to Sydney, I stay with him. He's coming over tonight for dinner. He's down in Melbourne to see his family. So, Daniel is probably like he's my best friend. And then I've got like probably three other people in my life who I still like hang out with. Two of them I went to school with, and then another one I didn't. But like that, it's sort of funny. You look back on when you're in that sort of 19, 20, out of high school. You think that this massive group of friends that you've got are going to be your friends forever, and you do. You're like, I could never see us not being like boys and whatever. And there was people that I considered like, family who I don't even speak to anymore. And it's just strange how it sort of becomes. You sort of you're all mature and everyone goes their different paths, and all of a sudden it sort of solidifies who the real ones are, who your real friends are, the ones that sort of stick around, and that you can like pick the phone up. You haven't spoken to them for a couple of months, and you just pick up where you left off, and it's like you'd just seen each other last week kind of thing. Which I think is pretty special, and that's, I think, a pretty good indicator of whether that person's going to be a really good friend. And obviously you guys, I said before, I speak to you guys more than I speak to anybody in my life. It was, every single day, like one of the first things I do in the morning when I get up and like get going is check the messenger to see what I missed, like, when I've been asleep. And I mean, like what I've said in, we have something special here, not just as what we have as like a, whatever you want to call it, business company, network of entertainment, but as like a group of friends and diverse individuals. And, it's just, how fucking weird is it that like we all met through some fucking dudes that talk shit on YouTube, and then we go and fucking, hang out in Sydney for a weekend together. And then half of us travel halfway across the world and like stay in hotels and shit together and stuff like that. Like it's crazy what we've been able to do as a group of friends with like what little we had to sort of, ignite a friendship. Do you know what I mean? Like I still find it bizarre, but beautiful as well. So I love you guys. That's all I want to say.
Oh, more hearts. Jonathan.
Hello. So
swing it around your table.
Jono, you go.
Yeah.
No, it's John.
Jono, if you want to let yourself go, just yell out Jono.
What's the specific question? Because I feel like Jack talked about a lot of stuff.
What's your friend
friendship
situation now?
It's your current friendship circle and what it's
like I mentioned before, geography often plays a big part in who your friends are at that time. So moving to Geelong a year ago, we've got kind of Hannah and I have a really close group of friends that we've met through church that we meet up with every week and multiple times a week if you include church itself. And it just happens to be all couples as well, which is something else I wanted to mention, is that when you do get married or partner up or whatever, it does kind of change the amount of time you have to invest in friendships and the kinds of friendships. Like it has, at least for me, I won't speak for everyone, but couples are easier to hang out with than individuals because, if I'm going to invite a mate over, that immediately casts Hannah into the corner of the room where she doesn't want to talk about Marvel or video games or whatever I'm interested in with this friend. So to have two people come is a lot easier, and it also kind of shapes the people that you spend the time with, therefore who you actually keep in touch with as well. So that's not insignificant, and it is possible to keep friendships with individuals, but the actual FaceTime changes a bit, I think, and you have to kind of make more of an effort to build around it when you've got free time and that kind of thing. So mentioning moving around, like I feel like I'm really blessed to have had really great friends in every place I've lived, and a lot of those friendships still exist to this day. Like someone from Mildura will be in town. They'll say, hey, let's catch up. We'll have lunch together. There's a lot of people, when I go back to Warrnambool, I can't even catch up with all of them in one weekend. So that's where I grew up. And obviously that means there's a lot of people there I've got a lot of long experiences with. But if you think about things like my wedding and, you know, trying to sell my book and having people to reach out to, things like that show you how fortunate you are to have great friends and how many there are when you have to kind of not invite certain people because there's not enough places to the wedding, or, you know, these people that you kind of didn't think still cared about you buy my book or whatever. So I feel really blessed to have a long history of great friends in different places and able to maintain so many of those, even if they're not as strong as I hope they would be, just because we can't spend as much time together. But moving into like the very present, this year, and you guys specifically, would probably be the first time that I felt a true connection with a group of online friends. I've had like online friends that I've had in the past and met up with and that kind of thing, but there's something about you guys that the fact that we've managed to find a way to talk every day that's made a really strong connection. And I often say that, and it's stereotyping, so forgive me, Dylan, for the SJW, but
Here we go.
that males, in my experience, tend to bond over shared interests, where a lot of women that I've known have bonded over a shared experience.
I'd like to just step in here, Jono. I'll SJW this
We have some
shit.
female representation today.
For the first time ever.
I was just going to
Come in
pop up
handy.
and quickly say that I actually quite often have male friends because we're bonding over whether it's like video games or movies or anything like that. So that's just my
and
I think Jono was saying
friendship.
like women bonding together compared to males bonding together. Is that what you were saying, Jono?
That was more what I meant, and that's based on things that I've heard and what I've observed in my wife and her friends. Like Hannah, for example.
That's what you meant, Jack.
Yeah. No, Jack was fairly spot on, but just for example, like maybe it's a nerd thing. Nerds
just
bond
one for
over
the
shared
audio
interests.
the audio listeners.
And huh?
Don't worry. Just
Sorry,
keep
carry on.
Throw me off. No, like so like Hannah, for example, she doesn't have these nerdy things to bond with people over. So it's having been through something that she finds a real strong connection with people. Whereas if you sit me down and in a room with a bunch of people I don't know, if we have a shared interest in kind of funny or comic books or video games, then it's already the basis for a really good friendship. And I've found that all through my adulthood with NBA and basketball and just things that I have in common. And I think that's obviously something we have, but we've got a lot more than just that because we've put in the work to keep in touch and
No, you
Yeah, you
said
did.
it.
There we have.
Yeah.
that kind of thing. But anyway, that's me.
You bring up a good point though, and something that I didn't even sort of think of with the couples thing. And I mean, it's similar. Well, not similar, like we have a kid and whatever, but like I mean, obviously a long-term relationship like yourself and Tom. But like a couple of like, and I didn't even think about.
Not Nick.
Not
Oh,
me
sorry, and
either,
no,
so-
and sorry, and sure. So I'm just all right, okay, just okay.
On the outside.
Not used to ladies being here.
Yes,
Put your dicks away.
but like the couples thing's really interesting, and I didn't even think about including like family in this as sort of friends, but like two sort of people that I've become really a lot closer with since having a family and being in a long-term relationship is like Sal's sister and her partner. Like I consider them my best friend, like a part of my best friends, and my like older cousin who like growing up, like we were never close. Like there's a 10-year-old sort of gap in us with age, and like we would see each other at family functions or whatever, and like there was never any massive like connection there. Like we would say
Like
hello.
how you
and
have
there
a
was,
big enough family to have functions with your
man,
family.
I'm Italian. I'm half Italian. There's
Yeah.
yeah. But like we're really tight now. Like me and him, like we talk all the time. We always hang out. We go and play golf. We drink. Sal and his wife are really close. So like it's funny, like Jono brought up with the couples, is that when your circumstances change, it sort of changes the groups of friends that you sort of you align to a little bit, because it's like, what can we do as a couple? Because obviously me and Taylor are a team. It's like, it's not fun for her if my mate comes over and we just go into my room and watch the footy or play fucking PlayStation all night. But if I can, if people can come into our lives and we can talk about kids and taxes and adults, boring adult stuff, but have a really good time and enjoy each other's company, that's pretty sort of
I imagine having children would change that all over again. Like even just definitely. In the so something that we can talk about is how do you make friends as an adult, and a lot of people it's through.
I thought you were going to say, how do we make children?
It's we like, say that for next week.
Like for a lot of people, it's their local sporting club, it's their employer, and if they don't have any friends there, they don't really know where to go. But for me, it's always been like, I go to my church, and then I've immediately got a group of people that I can connect with over something, and from there, friendships blossom through those shared interests that I mentioned before. But
I like your use of the word blossom.
Yeah. But then I noticed, like, when I was young and single, all my friends would be mostly, not completely, but they'd be also young and single. And then you get into couples and you just slowly gravitate towards being friends with other couples. And you notice the other couples that have kids slowly gravitate out of your group into groups that have children as well. And it's just interesting that you find yourself...
Me and Ash are the only ones that are single here.
Yeah.
But fuck off, Ash.
I think like
we need to go to church.
You should.
Jono's like, you should, yeah. Save your soul, Ash, while you can.
Go, Cherie.
Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. Like, I agree that like couples can gravitate towards other couples. I guess like I'm in kind of a special situation where my husband's in the military and like we spend quite a bit of time apart. We spend quite a bit of time apart as well as together. So we actually have like quite a lot of friends that are, single people, or like it'll be me obviously spending time with my friends while he's away. And then we also have, quite a lot of close couples. But I mean, him and I both have the same sort of interests. So it's the gaming, it's the movies, it's the comic books, all that sort of stuff. So I guess like if, he's hanging out with someone at home that's a single person, we're normally all hanging out together, and it's, for us, it's not a weird...
That's because you're really cool, Cherie.
Third wheel vibe. Oh, yeah. Should have guessed that already.
Fuck Hannah, fuck anyone else, man.
You're one of those cool chicks that's into cool stuff.
So...
It's funny because I kept wanting to point out, like, what did we talk about when we first started talking? Nothing that was just mentioned.
Yeah.
We made a funny point of it. It took until like over a month of us talking until one of us, like, you probably brought it up. He was like, oh, like something about a game or comic. And I was like, oh, that's funny. We haven't actually talked about nerdy stuff the entire time we've been talking. So, I mean, I disagree with everything you've just said, but yeah.
So, I mean...
I said males bond with other males through shared interests, and Cherie's a woman, so...
And you're a male, Julie.
In
case you
didn't
Like you were saying, like,
Did you just assume her gender, Jono?
So I guess we're kind of different in that way, but we're also different in the way that if we're spending time at home together, we're gaming together and stuff like that. So if we have friends that'll come over as a single person, then we're doing those things together, and it's not like a weird scenario, or not like isolating, I guess. Like so, and a lot of our friends are all obviously in that same sort of interest group. So I totally relate to what you're saying. Like couples gravitate towards other couples, but for me, like I said, I spent a lot of time away from Pat and vice versa. So we do sort of still have a lot of single friends.
Yeah, I do as well, and I really value those friendships because they're the guys or girls, or the guys for me, but that can drop everything when I'm free and hang out or go to a movie or do whatever like that. So it's really, I always like having at least one or two single friends at any point in time to hang out with.
Yeah.
You and me, Ash, we got to make sure we never.
You're our quota. Yeah, you're our
single.
quota. We need to stay single.
Tom hasn't gone.
Oh. Tom.
Yeah, I'm not gonna start rattling off a list of friends for the present, but an interesting thing that was almost touched on but not quite was the way that family become friends. particularly as you get older. And like, I would consider my mum and dad very close friends of mine.
Yep.
And we talk most days, even if it's just a text back and forth, or certainly do a couple of times a week. And like, we're going to Rarotonga in a week and a half. And that is basically just sit on the beach and do fuck all together with mum and dad, and my brother, and for his 30th birthday, and some of his friends will be there off doing their own thing. But yeah, it's cool. And it's not something that you expect growing up. But it's interestingly become the case.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That's a good point.
I could start listing names of people, and then just in case one of them listens, and their
feel
name
bad?
isn't on the list, then you get yourself in trouble. But I generally would agree with the whole the couples thing. But I still do have some very good single friends who do come around and play games, and Claire's very good about that.
She fucks off to the corner.
Yeah, she
Good girl.
goes into the room or watches something.
Hey.
I would. It would be remiss of me to not mention that obviously she's a very good friend, the best friend.
Yeah.
You would have to say, wouldn't
Yeah.
you?
That's right. We can
Yeah,
just
for sure.
take
Couple
that
of bases.
as granted. Yeah. For
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
our-
it's very easy to take that as a given.
Yeah.
But
I echo
Yeah.
those.
it's just as easy to say it, and it's very well appreciated.
Yeah,
I know.
And going back to the online thing, I recently said to Hannah, I said I could move anywhere with you because obviously I love her and she's enough for me.
Oh.
But also I feel now I have this group of online friends. I can just take you guys with me anywhere I go. So
Jono, are we real friends? Because you keep just referring to us as online.
Yeah.
well, that's the 99% of our communication. So
I've had
Yeah.
dry sex with Jono, so I consider us friends.
yeah, Jack's
You're
Jack's
next
in a
level.
different level.
I've got that on video.
No, you are
sorry.
real friends, but the way that we communicate is wholly almost online. So if I lived in
Yeah,
if I lived in Sydney if I moved to Sydney next week, this would not change. Like our friendship would change.
Yeah. The relationship and the dynamic doesn't change.
Yeah, we're also I guess we're also business partners as well, which is something that is sort of an interesting sort of dynamic to add to throw into the mix.
It's been an interesting dynamic. Like
Yes, definitely.
we're learning as we go.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Hesitant to say it's business partners until we get our first cent through the door.
yeah.
Maybe
not
when
for
that
profit.
happens, we
We're
can
not-
talk about it.
We're not for profit.
Not for
Guys, I'll
profit.
pay you
Still
$1
take.
Not
at
by
the end of the
choice.
show.
Not by choice, though.
Yeah, Cherie already gave me $1.
It's fine, guys.
Oh, where's my
We
percentage?
divide that by 7.
At least we know we'll have
Yeah.
one Patreon supporter.
Right, Cherie.
Yeah, so I have a few close friends that are, I guess, like, I have probably a few that I would say are like my best friends. They're all, I guess, mean something different to me. My sister is probably the closest to me, so going back to the family thing, we've probably been best friends for obviously a very long time. Didn't always get along when we were younger, but we have quite a special bond and talk probably every couple of days. And distance hasn't kind of like changed that, I guess, moving away. It's only sort of made it stronger. And yeah, like quite a few friends that I talk to just almost every day, which, you know, they've gotten through some really hard times with me. And they've gotten me through some like pretty tough times. And obviously, as I mentioned, you know, spending time apart from my husband quite a bit, you really do need those people to lean on. And so they've got me through some pretty tough times. But my latest friend is Dylan Blight.
Who?
Bloke.
Good choice. Good choice.
Hey, who? Viva
Solid
Adele?
choice.
I don't know.
Why are you doing that?
Well, so I guess it's like a bit of a funny story.
How did he
So,
trick you?
I know, right?
Internet rupees.
So I didn't actually meet any of you guys except for Jono at RTX down in Sydney. And technically Dylan, who was standing right next to you but didn't remember me at all.
What a champ.
So I made a pretty good impression.
And you picked him as your friend.
I know, right? So yeah, it was like kind of weird from there, I guess, that I couldn't actually get into the Kind of Funny group because everyone thought I was a bot. And this actually came back to a previous breakup that I had with a best friend whose girlfriend went a bit psycho on me. I guess this is like the issue, I guess, of being a girl and having guys as friends. Girlfriends get quite protective and disliking. And I have to put pretty hectic privacy settings on my Facebook. So I was like, I messaged Dylan and was like, hey, can you like let me into the Facebook group? You know, and he's like, oh, people probably didn't accept you because they thought you're a bot. And,
You're too good to be
like,
true, Cherie.
and then
It was like nothing on her profile. It's just like a picture and like you can't see anything. I'm like, I guarantee that people thought she was a bot.
And yeah, I think at the beginning Dylan probably didn't want to be my friend, to be honest. And then I just kind of like hung around, and I'm sure Dylan will probably continue his version of the story from there, I guess.
Just didn't shut up.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I guess like when we first met, I felt like we had a really good connection and that we would be really, really good friends. And I knew that we were pretty different, but like, you know, right wing, left wing sort of thing can fly the planes. So, yeah. And we talk all day, every day, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't think we haven't talked since you messaged me.
Yep.
Does that mean we're still
and
winning,
now-
though? Was that after RTX?
No, because Dylan didn't talk to us
What?
for like 2 days, so we lose.
Yeah.
And now I'm in Tasmania visiting him.
Yeah.
So.
Yay.
Sorry, guys. I've talked to Cherie a lot more than you. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I can just bring it back like a year, I suppose. When I was still with my ex-girlfriend, I basically had her and then my one friend left from high school. I was like, so I have my girlfriend, I have best friend, that's it. Like that was the only people I had in my life. So one of the things that really upset me and got me down, like when she broke up with me last year, like obviously when you go through breakups, you go through like different trains of thoughts for ages. But there was like a 48 period there for a while where I was like, fucking, like I have no one in my life anymore. Like I felt like so alone. Like I have no one, because when I had her, I'd think about it sometimes. I'd be like, I don't really have friends in my life at all. Apart one person I see like maybe every like 3 to 6 months. Like me and Sam don't really talk that much. We still don't talk that much, but we've got that whole like, because we've known each other so long. It's like, won't talk for 2 months. Hey, do you want to come out and drink or whatever? All right, fine. And we just
And he's
talk.
your only
We don't
named
need to-
friend, so...
Yeah, he's my.
You're only
yeah.
allowed to have one.
What about me?
No, we know you.
So
We
when
all
when I
know
break
you.
up-
That's fine.
when I
We've got a
when
rule
I
of
broke
only
up
one
with-
named friend outside
Yeah.
of the sort of the kind of funny circle.
circle?
Because otherwise it gets too difficult to track everyone and
Complicated.
everybody's friends.
Yeah.
Tom's
Yeah,
just
we have
got,
the white
But-
with the red twine and the
mine's Jesse.
Yeah.
in the board.
Pinpoints.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Dylan's a
so
set.
Yeah.
I think Jesse counts as in the group, seeing as he did all our awesome artwork for us. You can check out on explosionnetwork.com.
Good work, Ash.
Solid work, Ash. Solid work.
good job. Yeah, so like that was like a thing I went through after the breakup. I was like, I felt really, really alone for ages because I had like no friends and stuff. So my only, like literally that's like I wasn't even exaggerating to it, not even exaggerating, like literally everyone, well, apart from Nick's obviously not here. So Nick and Sam are the only people not here that I consider friends. And I never like, don't really care for big friend groups. I'd rather have like a smaller thing, I suppose, than, and where you talk constantly. I'd never want to have like, oh, I can name 100 people who are like my bestest friends ever, but I don't talk to half of them like once a year. Like that's not for me. That's not how I want to. That's not how my
Roll.
brain does relationships. So, yeah, so everyone here is my friend, and we're just missing literally 2 people, which is why I thought this was like the greatest topic ever. But yeah, like Sam's like my, I suppose, my best friend from school and stuff like that. But yeah, we have this really weird thing where it's like we won't talk for ages. Like even Cherie sometimes will be like, "What did you and Sam talk about tonight or whatever?" After I said like I meet up with him or something, I'll be like, "Oh, nothing much." She's like, "I thought you said you didn't talk to him for like 2 months." I'm like, "Yeah." It's like it's like we don't really need to. We just have a weird thing where we don't like play catch up or anything like that. Like didn't see him for 2 months. He's like, "How's it going with the moving out of the house, your ex's house and stuff?" I'm like, "It's going along." Like there's not like 1,001 questions. We kind of have like a.
You're like,
I don't know,
watch
I
the
suppose it's a
vlog,
very
man. Watch the vlog.
Yeah, like, watch the fucking
Keep up with my
vlog.
content.
So yeah, like I like having closer groups, smaller closer groups. So having all you guys and then Cherie's like really great for me. Yeah, and am I supposed to be going more on this story? It's not that I didn't want it. So she starts messaging me, and she's like talk to me, but I don't think I ever met anyone in my life who was just so hey.
What's
I was
happening,
like,
Jack?
She's like, I'm like, maybe she's, no, it wasn't like help me, Jack, but I was just like, I'll talk to her and be like, it's a bit weird. I don't think I'd ever met someone as nice as Cherie before, which is why it was like weirding me the fuck out. I was like, I'm just used to meaner people. Like Tasmanians are weird, like way meaner or something. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. I didn't think she wanted anything, or like, I was like, maybe she is actually a bot, and this is really programmed.
I think it was like the moment where he was like, "Okay, I've added you to the group," and I was like, "Cool, thanks." I think he just thought I'd stop talking.
Yeah. I was like, I did my job as a kind of funny Facebook good admin. I fixed the problem. People move on.
Yeah.
They don't come back and be like, "Hey, what would you get up to today?" But yeah, so I'll say that it wasn't like I hated Cherie when we first started talking. I was just like found it really odd that she was so nice, I suppose. But yeah, I'm really glad she put up with my shit.
To
Is
be
that
fair,
what
it is
other people are like?
it's quite a
I don't
unique,
know.
like it is a quite a unique thing, and I don't, like we've spoken about it, Sherry, like it's not
Yeah, we do.
normal to be as like friendly and open as you are, and because obviously you're in a unique situation where you've had to adapt to many different, changes in your life with with your partner obviously being in the service and having to move to different posts across Australia and having to adapt on the fly and make new friends on the fly. You're in that sort of situation where it's been a necessity for you, so it comes naturally to you. But to like,
Yeah.
I remember like even when like you started talking to me and obviously Dylan and that, it's sort of like, what's happening? I'm waiting for like just send me your credit card details and we can start like chatting even more. Like I just needed to verify your age. I'm like, like it is a different thing, but like obviously as you get to know you, that's just sort of your personality, is that you just want to be friends with everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just in this day and age, I guess we're desensitized to how shit most of the people in the world are, and you're always waiting for the catch. Like, what's the catch?
Yeah.
Like, where's the
Yeah.
where's the negative? And it's quite a unique sort of thing, and quite a cool thing to sort of, I don't know, especially for Dylan, and I know how, without him ever sort of having said it, but how important you've been for him in this stage of his life, and the stuff he's sort of been going through the last sort of few months, and that like being that sort of rock for him. He doesn't need to say it. Like you just know.
I've told her I don't need to cry on the podcast.
No, but you don't like you don't say anything to us. But like I know how important you are to him, and that makes you important to me. That you can be important to him, and be that person for him, because he's needed that. I don't know if I just went like probably somewhere that you didn't intend to go, but I went there, so just deal
you're
with
right.
it.
Very important
It
is
is
what
it
he's
is
getting
at.
it is
Yeah.
it is unique and different the way that you sort of are, and how open and friendly you are, and it's cool, I guess, is what I'm trying to get.
That's why we like you, and you're welcome on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I think, I'm an outgoing person anyway. Like I said before, I don't stick around for shit people. That's for sure. But yeah, I think I guess maybe from the beginning just thought we would be really good friends, and maybe that I think I sensed in a way that like maybe Dylan did need me in a way. So I think, it's kind of, I do kind of get that weird vibe sometimes from especially guys, I think, and especially because of my interests.
You're like Batman.
Nerdy
You go where
guys,
you need it.
More like Harley, come on. So I think...
And does that make
yeah.
Dylan Joker?
Probably.
That does make sense.
Nerdy guys aren't really the most social type of people normally, and I think
Did you say we aren't? Did you say we aren't?
I said nerd. I said
Oh,
nerdy guys.
nerdy guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's,
They're normally quite socially awkward, and I think I normally sort of break that barrier, even though, it shouldn't be the case, but it is. So, yeah, that's normally the reaction I get from Dylan is normally the same reaction I would get from anyone that I'd talk to. Be like, okay, see ya.
I remember.
But I just stuck around.
I remember you messaging. I think it was a DM on Twitter, and you're like, "So tell me 10 things about you." And I was like, "This makes me feel like MSN, like I'm 14 again." It's like doing those quizzes.
You just gotta do quick catch up.
I think I gave you 5.
Since she's here, since we're onto the me and Cherie friendship end of the podcast topic part, I suppose it's another really weird thing. And he was like talking about couples and all that sort of stuff and the weird friendship groups. It's been really weird, and was having discussions last night still, like how weirded out people get when if guy girl friendship. It's like. That's
as soon as that photo of the two of us went up on Facebook, it was like people were confused.
I had people messaging
didn't know
me, not
me,
naming
obviously.
names, but I had people messaging me, like literally just being like, "Are you guys fucking?" And it's like,
Jack.
that's like very rude to say, and very abrupt, and like, I was just like, huh. That's I don't know why you get it's how you get from A to that so quickly.
yeah.
To me as SJW Dylan.
I was just about to
it's
say
like-
it's SJW Dylan come out in full force.
It really
last night.
annoyed me. It was really annoying.
that's fine, but that's sort of what it like. That's what I was talking about. It's a different thing, and I think we might have even spoken about this before, Cherie. It's like
we did.
when it's like friendly, pretty blonde girl starts talking to dude. It's like she must want to fuck. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's just where guys' minds sort of go.
My
most of
biggest
the time.
problem is from the get go. I never thought like that, so I was just like, I don't know what everyone's issue is.
No.
It was really weird. Now I'm like, why does everyone have an issue? It's like, because this guy go.
It's not a
Why
yeah.
is this
It's
a thing?
just the
I
way
wouldn't say everyone,
the
but
human mind. No, it's just the way the mind works.
Well, the majority of
It is-
people.
People that don't know me.
it is difficult.
People that don't know
yeah.
me.
Like, it's good that your husband's cool with it, Cherie, but not a lot of people probably wouldn't be, and you can understand why that would be the case as well. Because
Don't get me down the road of what.
Don't get him started.
Don't get me started.
on what?
Yeah, no, I do. I have a
what?
very...
Well,
Get
that's
him
like a very
started.
different topic, but like,
You've gone down the
even if you're married, I believe like the husband shouldn't be able to dictate like who.
What about the wife,
Wife
man?
wants to be
Yeah.
friends with or wants to do or whatever. Like, of course, there's like certain fucking things, but it's like.
I guess,
Jesus.
yeah. I have a very loving and amazing husband. And I think, because, it's not like I randomly start making all these weird guy friends and stuff like that. Like, I came back from RTX and I was like, oh, these, even with you guys, he's just like, at first he was like, what? Like, I just leave for, months and I come back and you're just a fucking nerd again. Like, you're worse than me. He's like, you're sitting here playing PlayStation, streaming Twitch, and you're also, doing something else. He's like, okay. I think, especially with Dylan and, even you guys coming back, he very much knows what I'm like as a person. He knows I'm a very outgoing sort of person. So for me to, out of the two of us, even if we were both in the kind of funny group or RTX, it would have probably been me that had approached friendships instead of him anyway. So I think, he's very understanding of the fact that I just go and, do what I want, I guess. But he also normally gets to benefit from cool friends I make, so it's fine. So.
Very good.
Yeah. Anyone? That's probably gonna wrap it up, I guess.
Dylan started eating, so it must be time to finish.
I've been
I'm
eating
started.
breakfast
The cardinal
basically.
sin.
I've been snacking on breakfast. Fuck off! I gotta drive to Hobart after this. Thank you for joining us.
I'll
everyone.
drive to
This has been a
Hobart.
lovely
I thought you said
episode.
drive home.
You fuck. I'm at home.
Yeah, that's why I was confused.
everyone.
Friendship is magic.
Friendship is magic.
It's
Don't
a
say
magical
unicorns. Don't say unicorns.
Friendship is rare.
Do you know what
thank you.
I'm saying? Do your friendship? is
Ashley, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY, and just around.
Jack.
You can find me on Twitter, Cruzy_mate, and CruzyMate on YouTube.
Jonathan's.
Check me out on Twitter at Jono himself. That's me.
Yeah. So Thomas.
Tom DeBomb 89, TOMDABOM 89, and very soon with our own personal at Pleasure Explosion emails.
You mean Explosion Network?
Yep, Explosion Network. That's what it's going to be.
That's right.
Fancy. And you say we're not a business. Do you want to? What do you want people to find you? They might think you're a bot.
Find me. I'll find them.
Yeah.
Don't bother looking.
All of a sudden, just some random listener gets a
You'll get
DM from Cherie. Hey, how you going?
If you
No,
could
you
reach
find-
out to listeners of ours and get some feedback from them, that'd be fantastic, Cherie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please do.
Go through our RSS feed and
Find
hack
them.
away. Find each
They'll think
individual
I'm a
user.
Make friends.
No, you can find me on Twitter at Henry HENRI_CM.
Got him.
And thank you for
My
being
name's
a
Dylan. You get-
loyal listener, Cherie, as well. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we
Very
do.
much so.
That's all right. Thanks for having me on.
Just as a BT dubs for listeners, you can't just get on Pleasure Explosion where this isn't an open call. She's on as a friend. That's not how it works.
You can
Any
try.
listener's not allowed. You can try. You can pay me. I'll let you on.
Yeah, there will be a
Probably
Patreon
don't
tier
have to
for
pay
it.
very much.
There will be a Patreon
No,
tier
but
for it.
Probably the $1
$5 you
tier.
can be in the show. ready for me to try and say my Twitter for fucking
Nah, just
Tom
wrap it up. Don't
Interrupt?
worry about it.
Follow me on
Everybody
follow me on
already
Twitter
knows who
at
Blight is,
Vivaladil, VIVALADIL, and on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
Bye.